beautiful, lovely people. Welcome back. We're in the car today. It's another lunch break. Aren't you lucky you get to spend it with me? I'm lucky I get to spend it with you. How's that? Anyways, if you're new here, my name's Crystal. And I am over 50 and still working full-time, an 8-to-5 job, with hopes and dreams and aspirations of retiring early. So we'll see how this goes and stay with me on this journey. Hopefully there's others that can understand where I'm coming from. I've got somebody getting pulled over right in front of me. Eeks! Glad it's not me. So anyways, there's a running joke in my office with another girl that I had made a statement, I should say, that I was planning to retire before I turned 50. That I wanted to be retired by the time I turned 50. A year later, I was still working full-time. Nothing had changed. And here we are almost on the second year later, and I'm still working full-time. It would be so nice if someone could just grab me by the hand, guide me, tell me how I can make money and still be able to pay my bills. Because unfortunately, just because you retire doesn't mean everything retires along with you. So, still gonna have bills to pay, still gonna have responsibilities, and I need to make sure that I'm gonna be okay for that. My boys are still teenagers and they have a lot of needs. They're very needy. They have a lot of wants and dreams as well. So they probably get the dreams from their mama. They get the wants from dad. We'll put those on him. You know, when you start a job as a teenager, 16 plus usually is the typical starting age for work, isn't it? When you start work, you're given guidelines to kind of follow. When you start your first job, make sure you put so much away in savings, make sure that you're not spending everything that you earn, make sure that you are being smart with your money and you make wise decisions, right? I tried to do a lot of those things. I was never super wise with my money, as I think most teenagers are not. I didn't spend everything I had. I could save, and I still to this day am able to save. I'd like to say that I save a lot more than what I do, but I don't. I should be saving much more than what I do. But I would save for trips and things like that to have my own spending money. And I would save for large purchases. If I wanted something big, I would save for it. But in general, the advice that I was given when I started my first job was to be wise and to save. And then as soon as you're able to contribute to a 401k plan, do it. And I believe that's at 21, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. But at 21, you start to, contribute to your 401k and start building that retirement savings plan. So that someday, in the far future, you are able to leave your job, your full-time job, and live a life of abundance on this retirement money. It's almost I don't know. I feel like it's very misleading. Very misleading. As I've grown through life and now that I'm over 50, I see so many people, so many elderly who are in such desperate need of help financially. They literally cannot make it on the income that they're receiving from their retirement funds. Retirement funds is not enough. It is not enough to feed them. It is not enough to pay for their living expenses. It is not enough to provide them with health care and the medical needs that they have. As you get older, your health kind of goes. Pfft. So, you know, I feel like it's a terrible, terrible, misleading trap that they put us into. I wish that we were educated a little more when we're younger to say, get multiple sources of income. I was never taught that. Contribute to a 401k. Get in on your savings plan and you'll be prepared for retirement. There's so many holes in that system and so much inconsistency. I wish that I could have had someone who was very financially wise to have given me the proper education on how to save for later years, how to invest for later years. I just barely, so I've been contributing to a 401k since I turned 21. Contributed, got the small match that I would get from my company. I never contributed more than my match though, never. And was that wise? I don't know. I don't know. When I left my one job, which really sadly, I had been there for 15 years and I only moved about $5,600 from that 401k over to my current existing job and was deposited into the 401k here. Kind of sad. Only $5,600. I mean, it literally, I'm like over 15 years, that's almost, you know, that's more than a third of my working life. Why do I only have $5,600? You can't even survive on $5,600. That's not enough for anything. That's not even, that's like maybe a couple months of expenses. That's not enough to survive for the rest of your retirement. I'm like, well, things ramped up a little bit better with this job. They did a match, and that was better, and they would contribute a lot more to our retirement funds. And now it has grown to about 100,000 in the past 14 years. So much better. I am blind though. I don't know how that all works. I know it has to do with the stock market. I know it has to do with investing. I didn't understand how to invest. I've never known how to invest. How do I know how much to put into different companies so that I can get a bigger return on that investment? How do I know what's going to work and what doesn't? How will I best put the money so that I get a larger return on it? I was never taught these things. And you go to your company 401k meetings and they talk about, oh, there's large cap and there's small cap and there's, you know, this is high risk and this is low risk and blah, blah, blah. You know, at this age, you could, you know, you'd be wise to do this. Okay, I always went with the suggested things. I always went with the suggested things. I never veered from that because I didn't know differently. I didn't know if there was anything better or a better option for me. So I guess I'm kind of at this point now, even $100,000, that isn't crap, really. Is that, you know, that might provide for me for a couple of years, but you know, it's just kind of it's very disheartening. And I wish that things were better. I wish that things were different, and that I was able to have saved a considerable amount more than what I have over the years. I did start a Roth IRA because I had done some research on my own. Now, since internet and everything, I've been able to research a little bit more, learn a lot more. The internet is a wondrous thing, and it's full of educational information, but it can also be very misleading. So if you're doing research on anything, this isn't just retirement, this isn't just 401k and savings, this is research on absolutely anything. If you're asking Google or Chrome or whatever search engine you're using, if you ask questions, be sure to look at multiple sources for those answers. That's one thing that I've learned, to make sure that I check not just one source, but I check multiple sources. And then I compare their data and I compare their answers and I say, okay, yes, this works. So I did invest in a Roth IRA several years ago with this new company. And it has accumulated to about $30,000. So I have $130,000. How far is that going to get me in retirement? Honestly, how far is that going to get me? I want to try and retire early, but by retire, do I want to never have to work again? Probably not. I would get bored. I would get extremely bored. But if I could find something, either I could work from home, that I could do online, or even part-time. I would just rather do part-time and be able to have enough that covers my expenses, our expenses. And the other thing that is very troublesome to me is health insurance. I need health insurance, and it is very, very expensive. I've started to kind of look into other options of health insurance, as far as different companies that aren't work related or attached to a company. But there's Christian based health coverage, or I can't remember, health shares, I think is what I've looked into. I'd like to see what other options are out there. If anybody knows or has suggestions or has experience with or currently has coverage, I'm interested to know, what is the coverage like? I need to do more research as far as what entrepreneurs do, how they cover their health insurance. I would like to know more. So if you have any suggestions, please, please, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I would love any and all suggestions you have available. What are you currently using? Are you retired? Are you still working full time? Are you, let's talk, let's chat. I'd love to hear more about it. I want to educate myself a little bit more. With aging parents and the needs that I try to help keep up with them, I know that their health is not the best, and I want to be able to spend as much time with them as I can, because I know I'm not going to have them forever. And I would also love to be able to spend more time with my family, my boys and my husband. It would be nice to just be able to say, oh, on a whim, let's go. Let's just go. It's a Wednesday. Let's go. We can take off. We can go whenever we want, because there's nothing to tie us down. But I want to do it before I'm not able to. I don't want to wait until I'm retirement age and I'm too old to enjoy it. Take me by the hand. Show me the way. I look forward to any comments that you have. I hope you have a beautiful day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye. Hey, be sure to like and subscribe. Maybe we can strike up some conversations and learn from each other. If this resonates with you and we're like-minded people, then be sure to follow along. Thanks.